Now to talk about much of what has transpired this week, illegal immigration and Fast and Furious. Congressman Louie Gohmert joins us, member of the powerful House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, great to have you here.
Always good to be had by you.
Well, President Obama said that Congress has ignored the fact that his door has been open for 3.5 years. Is that a somewhat passive-aggressive position for him to take?
Well, I've pointed out to other colleagues in Congress before, he says his door is always open, and Lou, I can't call him a liar about that. It may very well be, but he's got so daggum many guards and walls between me and his door, I can't get there.
And as you know, not only members of your party are complaining about that, but his own party. Well, let's turn to the Fast and Furious investigation, and I want to come back to a number of things on illegal immigration. But Fast and Furious, right now, it appears that you're headed toward a vote on contempt of Congress next week. And unless this Attorney General produces. You've called for his resignation. Where do you think we are headed over the next 5 to 6 days?
I think if they were going to produce those documents, they would do it. And now it seems like they're just going into delay tactics, like some folks that are opposed to the U.S. do in arms talk. You know, delay, delay, delay. It's been over a year. There's already been contempt for Congress. The only question is, are they going to produce documents before we get the vote or not? And this business about dropping the whole matter before we even see the documents is just outrageous.
Yeah, the congressman referring to the Attorney General's what many consider rather generous offer, which was to decide himself whether or not he had fulfilled a subpoena issued by Congress.
You know, Lou, if I could add, you know, Cornyn had asked him,
Senator John
Cornyn from Texas, had asked him and been rather pointed about this issue, and he volunteered the statement that Attorney General McCasey had known about it, been briefed, and he didn't do anything, that he had done more than McCasey did. And he has now had that statement withdrawn. It turns out that was not true, at least, and they, in their statement withdrawing that, the Attorney General's office said he inadvertently said it. Well, I've got a transcript 5 days before that where here's what he said to me.
And let me read this to you, folks, if you can kind of zoom in on this. It reads, and that is in stark contrast to what happened to my predecessor, Attorney General McCasey, when he was briefed about the transmission of guns to Mexico, and as far as I can tell, did far less than what I did.
That was different location 5 days before he spoke to Cornyn, and they haven't withdrawn this. So I've sent a letter, an official letter. It was part of our hearing because you have so many days to submit additional questions. And in my letter, my question, I said, please look up the word inadvertent and then explain how making the same statement 2 different places 5 days apart could be inadvertent instead of simply false.
A lot of people are paying a great deal of attention to the video that we're about to share with you. And this is a press briefing by the Secretary of Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano. Deputy Secretary of State Jim Steinberg is there, as well as Deputy Attorney General David Ogden on U.S.-Mexico border security. This takes place on the 24th of March, 2009. Please watch and listen.
The President has directed us to take action to fight these cartels, and Attorney General Holder and I are taking several new and aggressive steps as part of the administration's comprehensive plan. Those steps include the following. DOJ's Drug Enforcement Administration, which already has the largest U.S. drug enforcement presence in Mexico, with 11 offices in that country, is placing 16 new DEA positions in Southwest border field operations, specifically to target Mexican trafficking and associated violence. The DEA is also deploying 4 new mobile enforcement teams to specifically target Mexican methamphetamine trafficking, both along the border and in U.S. cities impacted by the cartels. DOJ's Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives is increasing its efforts by adding 37 new employees in 3 new offices using $10 million in Recovery Act funds, and redeploying 100 personnel to the southwest border in the next 45 days to fortify its Project Gunrunner, which is aimed at disrupting arms trafficking between the United States and Mexico. ATF is doubling its presence in Mexico itself, from 5 to 9 personnel working with the Mexicans specifically to facilitate gun tracing activity which targets the illegal weapons and their sources in the United States.
Again, Deputy Attorney General David Ogden. Congressman, your reaction to that rather specific discussion of the assets being deployed?
Well, actually, Lou, before they claimed executive privilege, I would not have given this a second thought. But once they claimed executive privilege, you went, holy cow. The president must have had fingerprints on this somehow for him to claim executive privilege. And so then this crops up from March of 2009, and they're saying very expressly the president's leadership, he's directed us to do this. He was all over that operation, directing the tracing of guns in Mexico and all that. How in the world could any of this taken place fast and furious without somebody at Justice running it by the president who had directed something just the opposite? So I don't think they would have had the nerve to change 180 degrees from what the president directed, as said in here, without his okay.
I want to bring in a couple of other elements. We're crushed here for time. But the Washington Post, siding with the House of Representatives in demanding production of these documents and saying very clearly in its editorial pages that it is time for the president to deliver the material to Congress, saying point blank, the Congress has a greater need to know than the president does to control those documents.
That was the Washington Times?
The Washington Post.
The Washington Post.
Correct.
Figure. Well, they're absolutely right. This is far worse than Watergate. I mean, nobody died in Watergate. You've got the issue. Have we been lied to in Congress? You know, people say, "Oh, Congress, what difference does it make?" They're saying that at the administration. You got the president out there saying, "You know what? Congress hadn't done it, so I'm going to violate the law and say 800,000 people, you're good. I'm going to give you a work permit. As I speak it, so shall it be." I mean, that's what monarchs do. We don't have that here, and there's a lot of things that have got to be reined in. But if you're lying to Congress, and especially repeatedly, it's dealt with.
And when you are at the head of what has become an imperial presidency, questions at least have to be asked, if not answered. Well, we hope that you get the answer.
This may not be as serious as what Roger Clements said, but, and I'm being facetious, I'm sorry. This is
you don't have to say you're sorry to me. I've known you long enough to know when you're having a little fun at the expense of the establishment.
Roger Clements, that holds nothing like a candle to what's going on.
Yeah, at a time when we talk about all of the resources and manpower the Justice Department wants to steward in defense of the national interest, 5 years against a Hall of Fame pitcher of the character of Roger Clemens makes you really kind of wonder about, well, wonder less than get confirmed what you're probably suspecting.
Guns still out there.
Congressman, we thank you very much. Look forward to continuing our conversations. Good luck.
Thank you.
Up next, give me your tired, your